Welcome to the Brookhaven Circle, a podcast to celebrate and explore the business community of Brookhaven Circle in Memphis, Tennessee. While Brookhaven Circle is known for its many restaurants, you'll find a lot more than good eating on the circle, where many service and retail entrepreneurs have set up shop. Don't forget to subscribe to the Brookhaven Circle on whatever platform you listen or watch your podcast on. Just search the Brookhaven Circle and hit that subscribe button. The Brookhaven Circle is sponsored by V2 Media. I'm Mark Thompson. Now let's meet the Brookhaven Circle business community. Welcome to the Brookhaven Circle, a podcast about the business community on Brookhaven Circle in Memphis, Tennessee. So Brookhaven Circle is known for its many restaurants, but there's a lot more than the restaurants on Brookhaven Circle. So we're going to introduce the businesses, their entrepreneurial journey, and get to know some of our Brookhaven Circle neighbors. So today we're here with Hunter Brown and Darnell Alexander with topsbarbq. Now, some people that are in this area and watching this will say, they're not on Brookhaven Circle. And while that is technically true, it's not a Brookhaven Circle address, as you and I talked. If you make the circle, you guys are on Circle.
Absolutely. We are the start and the end. And so it's pretty cool to be right there. We're excited about that location. And I love the businesses around here. I grew up customers throughout this entire circle, so it's pretty neat to be around here.
We love this neighborhood.
Yeah,
love it. It's been great for us. Hunter, you've got a long career in the restaurant business. Mm-hmm. Tell me about your restaurant career and what led you to Tops.
That's the nice way of saying I'm old, I guess. Yeah, particularly in this business, I'm one of the crazy ones that have fallen in love with the restaurant business and continued to stay. Thankfully, I mean, I've been so blessed to be in this business. I started when I was in college at Ole Miss at McAllister's Deli, where it was founded, and then just worked through the ranks there and came up from a dishwasher. Was left there 12 years into it. When I started, I think there were 12 McAllisters, and when I left, there were over 600. A lot of growth inside that. I got to learn a lot. I got to learn a lot of what not to do in this business, and just kind of grew up through there. And then I transitioned over to Domino's Pizza and really got to. It was kind of the graduate school of restaurant business for me. So I learned what I didn't know there, really got my feet wet, got to work with the franchisee side and the franchisor side, not just here locally, but all around the country, and some time at their headquarters. So that was really neat and learned a lot. And, my boss, my CEO, he and I, worked at Domino's together. He was more specific to the corporate side and supported things that we did, but being both local here in Memphis, it was we became close and really enjoyed working together. He had an opportunity to leave and take the head reins of Lenny's, another local business here, primarily dealing with franchisees on that side, and he asked me to join him. So we've been together ever since. Worked together there at Domino's and at Lenny's. I've done some things out in Arizona and out in Pittsburgh for a couple companies to help them to grow a little bit and put them together and help standards kind of get together on that end. But for the most part, we've been there. I've never been more excited than the day he called me and said, "Hey, we're going to Tops." Just the nostalgia, the memories, my parents' memories, the stories they used to tell me. The stories my grandparents told me. I mean, to be in this business and to be rewarded, for what I hope to be, and all intentions are, the final run out of this business, to be rewarded with the most iconic brand in the city is just still gives me chills, and I take it very, very serious. Yeah. It's really awesome. It's an
iconic brand.
It is.
Iconic brand in the Memphis and Mid-South region.
Yeah.
And for those listeners who are local, you'll know Memphis is really just a small, big city.
Yeah, absolutely.
So Hunter helped teach our oldest punctuality, and many other good attributes and qualities
Right.
helped train him at McAllister's
That's right.
a few years ago. And then Edith Kelly Green is a friend of ours.
That's awesome. Great, great person. We love
Edith and James.
Yeah, like
good,
James.
good
team.
folks.
Absolutely. Great people.
So Darnell, now you, as I understand, you're in charge of the catering end of Tops. Tell me about your journey to in the catering business.
Well, part of that, I'm catering and marketing. So all my career, I've pretty much done marketing almost my whole life. But I went to Collierville High School, graduated in 1984, go Dragons. And went to Memphis State. I was one of the Memphis State people. So.
Yeah.
But I came on to FunQuest in Collierville, bowling, skating, and laser facility. Came on there as the marketing person. Really, it's to running all the birthday parties, take care of that. Well, of course, then that kind of graduates into you got to work in the kitchen and take control of all of that when you're hosting all these parties and events. And I was with them for about 12 years, and I've been at Sonic for a little while. I did a small stint there, and went to Chick-fil-A. So I was with Chick-fil-A for almost 7 years, and that's where I learned a lot. I mean, Chick-fil-A it overtakes you in a good way. So my pleasure will always be part of my vocabulary for the rest of my life, because it's got to come from the heart. You got to mean that. And so with
And eat more chicken.
Right.
Eat more chicken, lots of chicken.
All of a sudden, Tops has chicken, you know?
And of course with Chick-fil-A, the catering takes over there too, because I mean, it's just massive. So I got involved with a lot of catering there, and then when I was approached to come to Tops, they wanted me to do marketing and start the catering side, because they had never really done this type of catering. They would do, special events, if a company wanted it, but not just like going to a doctor's office and, doing that kind of thing. So now I've been there for almost 4 years, and the journey's been amazing.
Yeah.
To go from zero catering to what we're doing now, we have quadrupled in numbers in just 4 years.
Well, I can tell you that Tops would be welcome at any event that we go to. One of the joys of being over where we are on Brookhaven Circle.
Yeah.
So I come in early.
That's right.
And I smell the pit
That's
going
right. It's
in the
going.
morning early. It's like a little puff of smoke, a little barbecue.
It does get you going.
It does get you going in the morning.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, we'll talk about catering more, but I mean, to your point, any event, I was blown away at the type of events, we do, and when Darnell comes around the corner in the office and says, hey, we've got a wedding this Saturday, and I'm like, all right, well, that's, come over here and look at everything we've got set up, and it's just displayed of, I would be so proud at my daughter's wedding to see something like that, honestly. She just makes it,
We do trial runs.
her and her team does a tremendous job, for sure.
Yeah.
Yeah, I do.
For
I have
sure.
a great team, and I mean, they are go-getters. They're just like, come on, bring on more. I mean, if we could have 9 little orders at lunchtime going all out at the same time, they're like, I got 3 of them, and so it's fun over there as
I
well.
come from a world of mass feeding, right?
Yeah.
And so, I mean, at McAllister's and Lenny's, of course, you've got sandwich trays, and catering is the thing. Pizza, of course, you're always feeding multiple families, in events. And so to see the barbecue world be able to pair up and just so nicely with Darnell. But I say all that, I've worked with a lot of people and talented people throughout this, and I'll tell you, this catering team that she has assembled is the most service-driven catering team I've ever seen in my career. It's unbelievable, and I've seen some studs out there, I'll be honest with you. It's really cool to see what they're doing out there.
Awesome.
Yeah.
One cool thing we do for catering, and I know we're coming back to it, but we do the on-site grill.
Mm-hmm.
So what you get in the restaurant, we will bring it to the company.
World famous hamburgers right there in your
Right
parking
there.
lot.
Nice.
Oh yeah, and our grills are just like what's in the restaurant, flat tops. It's not the open grill, the grate. So flat tops, and when your employees come out and they're like, is that burgers? That's Tops Burgers.
Well, yes.
Brought right to your door.
Often voted the best burger in Memphis, I believe.
Yes.
Which, that was on my list to ask about. So, certainly when you think of Tops, you think of barbecue and everything that goes with barbecue.
Right.
But that's not all you have.
Yeah, it's expanding, but I really, at the legacy piece of it, there's always been low, slow cooked pulled pork, chopped pork, for sandwiches. It's been the hamburger, the cheeseburger that's been there for us. The ribs evolved into it, and brisket, those key items, and the sides that's always been around, the beans and slaw. Those key core items are really what got us here. The new stuff, obviously we could talk about, but just looking back at any legacy times, I think about, first of all, the product integrity is very huge for us and our team. Every visit, every time we're in stores, every time we open the door and we make a sandwich, the first concentration on is remember what got us to the dance, and that is our product quality. Yeah. We have to continue to focus on that. I'm proud of our team for really having zero focus on zeroed in on their focus on really just understanding that without that, we've got to be nice, we have to be fast, we have to be all of those other things. But our product quality is what got us to this dance. And we have to carry on the torch.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
Well, and obviously Tops has been doing a great job with that for many years. Mm-hmm. Talk about for the history and the growth of the brand.
Yeah, 71 years. Just a cool story. My father went to Kingsbury High School, and so Tops at Summer National was there when he was there. My dad is 76 years old. Right? So, when I came onto the company, I got to talk to him some more about Tops intimately and then how it influenced his life in his teenage years. And after school, they would go to the Summer National store, get a burger, a bag of chips, and a bottled Coke. You could just visualize them, with their white T-shirt rolled up, their blue jeans and hair slicked back, rolling up into that restaurant. And he said it was 59 cents. You think you could start honoring that for me again? I'm like, nah, times have changed. But it's cool, yeah, that part of it. But Darnell has a lot of knowledge about our history from where it began to where we are today.
So of course we started in 1952, and it was James Lawson, but it started inside a grocery store at Macon and National. And so then from there, they opened up the first one, and that was at Park and Sims.
I knew that.
Okay.
Because we lived right around the corner from there back in the mid to late 60s. Mm-hmm. And I thought, oh yeah, I remember the chimney, and yeah.
And then they did the Jackson and Hollywood. So of course, those three are no longer there, and so that's when now you get to our Roads at Getwell, which is our oldest location that has been there since, and I'm not sure what year the Roads location opened, but it's going to be in the 60s.
Yeah, in the 60s there, converted an old house. You'll see, you're coming down, Quinn, that then turns into Roads, and then you're just houses on every side of it, and then right before the Getwell Road, there's a topsbarbq that obviously was a home at some point. But
with kind of a funny little parking lot.
Pretty
yes.
bizarre. Everything about it is bizarre.
Yes.
But it's it's so cool. Again, the nostalgia there, and then it's tough for we've got of course our internal chat that we do with our team, and we have fun with it with taking pictures. The celebrities come through Tops quite often, in Memphis, just because it's. Why wouldn't you?
Joey comes in every day.
Yeah, I know.
Speaking of celebrities.
Our producer, director.
He doesn't even have to order. They know what he wants. They walk in the door, here you go, Joey.
But at that store particularly, Penny Hardaway is singing quite a bit. The King is still singing around, and Jerry Lawler and his crew come through there, and they pass restaurants to get to Roads because that's where they grew up. That's what they've eaten. It's pretty cool. And there are thousands of stories like that we're blessed to be able to hear every day, honestly, from our guests.
I love that.
Pretty cool.
I love a brand that has history in the community, and that is so focused on maintaining that original brand quality and hasn't let go of that, because so many brands at some level have.
Yeah, absolutely.
And it's amazing that you guys have, continued, and it's building your team to understand what that needs to look like.
And it is, and I'm glad you focused on team, because the team would be the only thing above the product quality and integrity of food. I mean, we are in the people business. We happen to sell burgers and barbecue, right? We are in the people business. It's the team that really pulls everything together, and that might sound cliche-ish, but it's the absolute truth, and we know it from the top down. It's really the most important focus, that when we're thinking about success, not only for, when you say success in business, people think about bottom line success and profit. I mean, success for the over 250 team members we work with. We get to influence 250 households in the Mid-South. That's huge. And when you stack it against businesses in Memphis in general, it's on up there. It's a significant number. When you put it against in our category, I couldn't think of anybody that's not national that surpasses that number. So again, that's something that we take very serious and understand. And we've worked for people, and we've worked in companies that overpromised and underdelivered on the people end of it. And we said that if we ever get the shot to do this on our own, that we were going to make sure that we lived by what we said. And I want to be reminded if that doesn't seem true, from anybody on my team.
Yeah.
And talking about team members, I'm going to brag, because we have some amazing team members. I mean, they're all amazing. But, we have Norman, who is at our Union location. And if you go there, you know who Norman is. I think he's been with us 30 plus years.
Yeah, 35.
But going back to the pride and the quality, he makes the beans at Union every day. And if I come in there, he's like, Miss Darnell, you ready to taste some beans? My beans are the best. Come on. And he wants me to take his picture while he's stirring the beans. I mean, he's proud.
He's great.
And I'll tell him I'll put his beans up against anybody, because
Yeah.
they are incredible. But he's proud.
Yeah.
And, that's what he's like. Nobody else does it. It's just me. He doesn't want anybody else to do it.
Right. Don't mess with my beans now.
Don't mess. No. And he's proud of his ribs too.
Yeah.
So, but it's that. I mean, he takes ownership of it. And that's what you want to see, and
That's cool.
how he does that.
Uncle Norm. That's what
Uncle Norm.
That's what we all call him. And what's cooler than that is 30-something years ago, he would approach the guy running the business at Union and ask for $1 to clean the parking lot, clean the windows, and he would do a respectful job and take the trash and spend, from stories I've heard from legacy members, hours on doing that. And finally, at the time, the owners, were there and saw him and said, "Hey, man, why don't we make you make a living, right?" And so they hired him, and paid him well, and he's built a career off of it, and he's got a home, and he's got it's pretty awesome to see what's happened for that. And that's just a great example on top of what Darnell already shared.
Well, and that kind of leads into what I want to talk about a bit. So, is the passion that you have to have for the business, for the restaurant business, and when you talk about how proud he is of his beans or of his ribs, you have to have a passion for that business and making sure that everything is right for that customer.
That's right. Yeah, and consistency obviously is once you get bigger. That's where I've been involved in brands that kind of outgrew themselves and grew too fast. I've named a couple already, but it's hard to keep that consistency when you do that, and that's why it's important for us when we're talking anything, when we're talking growth, and we're talking a new menu item or a limited time offer or any special, that we're talking, it leads out with how will this interact with our current legacy, what got us to the game, right? How will this interact with that? Does it, interfere with that? Does it lose any piece of the integrity? Does it slow down operations? Is it something that, just isn't a triple win for the guest and the team member and ultimately, the board as well?
Yeah.
So, yeah, absolutely.
So some of that menu growth, you fairly recently added breakfast
That's right.
to your offerings. Tell me a little bit about that and how that's worked.
Well, I
for
thought
you.
we were going to get Joey up here to talk about it. I learned stuff from Joey today about our menu. I appreciate it. But we have Joeys around the city that are becoming raving fans of this breakfast. And I think a big piece of it is because it's so unique.
Yeah.
Very unique to the QSR world, quick service restaurant world. It's something that you cannot get in a fast food drive-through window, typically anywhere I've been. And it's the concentration of breakfast sandwiches that has really made it unique. So we make these sandwiches to order. We have the safe sandwiches. Even Joey was sharing that he gives with the sausage, egg, and cheese. We have bacon, egg, and cheese, and those traditional safe sandwiches that if you're not trying to get out of the box too quick. But then we also have chopped pork on a fried egg with queso and some hot barbecue sauce all put together. Joey, you got to try this one.
No, my favorite is our brisket. Oh my goodness, our brisket, egg, and cheese breakfast sandwich is just.
It's really unique. The brisket, we complement it with a nice spread of cream cheese on it, and then again with the fried egg and the brisket and the sweet sauce.
Is breakfast available now?
Yeah, absolutely.
I'll be back in a...
But yeah, a breakfast BLT, we brought in hash browns, we tested, and, we take everything so serious again to when we're making decisions like this. The amount of hash browns that we went through is one example of how much detail and due diligence goes into something before you bring it out. We have test markets. We bring real customers in. We try. Just think about the hash brown where you've seen them in different QSRs throughout the city. You got rounds. You got sticks. You got footballs. You've got triangles. There's so many different ways to do it. And what was the easiest for us operationally, and what didn't take away from our integrity food that got us here at the end of the day, right? Again, it's all going to go back to that. Yeah.
And it's amazing. And if you're not in the business, you don't know what goes into those decisions. Right. And it's not just, that looks good, let's try that.
Yeah.
No.
Well, I do like the blend that we have in leadership that comes with the fact that we're also not death by meeting. We're gonna do the due diligence, but by God, we're going to do it now. So let's go. Let's figure this out, and let's have fun with it. Let's make sure we do the work, but let's do it. We're not going to continue to just drag our feet with something. We have a pretty good time. And again, my boss kind of holds me by the collar as I'm just trying to sprint because he's smarter than I am. Saying, make sure that we've gone through this.
And we test, and we test, and we try because they're over in my office, I want to call it. And they're like, come on out here and try this. I'm like, I'm tired of testing food. It's just, you can only eat so much.
Well, if you get tired of taste testing, you're always welcome to come by here in the morning
Right,
if you need some help with that.
We've got plenty of volunteers.
I understand. So a couple of our clients are food service, Monogram Foods is a client. So we're
a customer of theirs. Full circle B.
It is. We've been fortunate enough to run through some of that taste testing and the development side, and a lot goes into that.
Yeah, it is unique.
Yeah,
it's where I love Monogram Foods because they really highlight a Memphis brand of Circle B's in particular, and so I can't give away the whole bag yet, but there is something coming.
More to come
very soon with that, and it reminds me of other partnerships that we have. With Memphis. We want to be everything Memphis. Brims is a company that was built out of a garage in Bartlett, Tennessee.
Yeah.
We buy every bit of our chips from there, and it's our third biggest selling side item. So it's pretty neat to have that on there every day, 6 days a week, at our back door at all 17 locations. Charlie's Meat Market is pulling up with fresh burgers. That cow was alive 5 days ago. If you want to know why we have the best burger in Memphis,
go talk to Charlie.
Exactly. Yeah, but he better not tell everything.
Don't tell it all. But
Yeah.
Memphis, Mississippi, tri-state area.
Well, you know,
best burger.
It's interesting when you mention that in particular because, you know, Charlie Meat Market is another iconic Memphis operation.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I've been there.
Yeah, absolutely. And
Wow.
just everything Memphis, you know, when you think about Tops. And listen, it's not the cheapest for us. We could cut corners. We could absolutely bring in something that the guest might not even know about, you know, or could even tell, you know, from a blind tasting. But that's not us, and that's not what we're here to do. You know, we're going to stick with what got us here and continue that on and support local businesses like Charlie's, Brim's, and others to be able to turn around and sell in the community.
Yeah.
It's like they used to do it in the old days, you know, and we just want to. If we're going to be the last one doing it that way, then I'm okay with that.
Well, there's more to the business side than a few more dollars on the bottom line.
Mm-hmm. That's right.
Yeah.
That's right.
Yeah.
And that's not true for every business, you know, and that might not be their motto or, you know, their intention. But I'm proud to say I work for a company that it is true.
Yeah. Yeah. Same here. You know, we want to do what's right for the customer, for the client. And if that means we're going to, an extra step, 2 extra steps, whatever that is, it's about making them happy and making sure that it works for them.
When I first started working at Tops, I remember Charlie's would come in, somebody from Charlie's Meat Market would come in every Friday, and he'd pull up, and I'd say, hey, and they're like, hey, we're here to pick up our payroll check. And I was like, oh, wow, that's great. We're making their payroll, you know, every week.
Yeah.
And,
It's pretty neat. A
everything
lot of
else-
work goes into them making our burgers.
Yeah.
Yeah, they have a great staff over there.
Well,
It's awesome.
and I'll go back to your breakfast for just a minute. So when we started this podcast, I certainly was going to reach out to Tops, but then that magic of Memphis, the happening of place and time, and that I'm in a networking group, and Darnell brought breakfast a few weeks ago, and I'm like, yeah, we need to get you guys on. So, like,
That's great.
oh, I'm liking that.
Yeah.
And you're right, it is unusual.
It
You
is
know,
different.
it's breakfast on a bun.
That's right.
It's not on a biscuit.
That's right.
It's on your traditional bun.
But we're sticking
and it
with
works.
what
It
we do
does.
best. I mean, that's what we do best.
Yeah.
So
That's right. And look, we were already there cooking meat, as you said, this morning when you pull up. You know, we're there that early in the morning. We beat the sun up. Smoke rises before the sun does in Memphis, you know. So we've got that going already. So we're already in the building. And so we started really considering, you know, bringing in this new portion of a new menu part for us to dabble with. But, you know, we decided if we're going to do it, let's do it right and do it slow and let's get it, you know, get it tested, and let's let the people of Memphis vote. And, you know, lights are on, let's sell some food. But the coolest thing about that is, and we learned this backwards, you know, which a lot of times the guests will teach us, you know, the way. But from the beginning, we said we're going to go full menu available, just in case somebody wants to rise and shine with a half a rack of ribs, right? And so we did full menu available. It's not a 50-50 split, but it's a lot more than I expected in the percentage size of the non-breakfast menu sold from 6:30 to 10, because third shifters are getting off, and it's their 5 o'clock, and they want ribs, and they want brisket, and they want a pork sandwich or 2, right, on their way home, and so that they can grab it and get home and relax and have their time while we're, you know, most of the other side of the world is at work. So that was a pretty cool thing to see, that they've never had that opportunity. They've only been able to eat breakfast for dinner, you know, and now they get a shot to have a full menu available. So I'm just real proud of that.
They can have dinner for dinner.
That's it.
In the morning.
Dinner for, yes. While
I
the
was
rest
at
of
our
us are.
Macon location yesterday doing a catering order, and it was 9 a.m. And the guy came in and ordered a double cheeseburger, you know, and double fries. And I'm like, well,
See it all the
okay.
time.
I was going to say, well, if I've had a hard night, that might be
Trust me.
order in the morning.
That was a standing order in my 20s.
Yes. Talk to me a little bit about if you would, your growth strategy over the last couple of years. You've opened several new locations. How are those going, and what are the next plans?
Okay, well, this one here that got us to the table for your podcast opened back in 2015, and that's the last one that they had opened for quite some time. So fast forward 4 years later, Bartlett comes in, and this is with the new ownership group, the ones that have bought it out, from the owner that had it for 60-something years, right? So the first restaurant, and then Randy and I and the rest of the team came on since. We've really enjoyed Bartlett. It was a wild success. Still feeds a community that didn't have an opportunity for great barbecue and burgers for years and years and years. And so we see that. And really the most common praise we get from the neighborhood is thank y'all. We grew up in Frazier. We grew up 51. We grew up Jackson Avenue and moved out to Bartlett, and here we are today. And we had to drive 15 miles to get our tops fixed. Well, not anymore. We came to Bartlett. Yeah. So with that encouragement from the Memphians that are going to vote with their wallet, right? Ultimately, we wanted to be in places that deserve to have it in their community, and there are several. I mean, the last one we opened was we converted Old Steak and Shake into a brand new, beautiful, renewed Tops out there at Hacks Cross near 385, and it is beautiful. If you haven't seen it, it's new decor inside. It's not what that part. It wasn't what you remembered with going to eat with your grandmother. We've spruced it up, and we've done that with some of the older restaurants as well. But Cordova opens in 2 weeks from today. Brand new ground up building came out of the ground this year and is going to have a bow wrapped around it that Darnell will go cut here in 2 weeks, and just pop open, another restaurant. And while that dust settles, no pun intended, we'll be starting another one out in a neighborhood around the corner from that also has a hole. And so we have holes in Whitehaven, we have holes in Lakeland, Arlington, Germantown, Collierville, Hernando, a couple of places in DeSoto County that need their tops fixed, and we are going to be here to provide that. Growth is absolutely in our plan to fulfill Memphis where we're not, to bring tops to the guests that grew up with it in other neighborhoods that still get to have it today. It's a responsibility we take serious.
I love that. In fact, I was going to ask, that was on my list to ask you about the Cordova location, because we're still out there, been out there for years, and
awesome.
I've seen it. I will often get off on Appling and come up to Cordova.
Good. I hope a lot of people do.
To avoid a lot of the Germantown Parkway traffic.
That was the joke. So I hope it continues.
Yeah. You just got to watch those speed bumps.
That's right.
You got to watch the speed bumps, but I'm telling you, that's the way to go for. Depending on where you're headed. So you get a lot of traffic through there. So I've been wondering when that was going to open.
Yeah,
a couple weeks.
Opening with breakfast. So we did that at Hacks Cross. So when you open with a restaurant with all day parts where you're serving it, and the customers have always known that, it's easier for them to remember. It'll be a great breakfast stop, and then a great dinner stop on the way home, and then all the commuters that work in that area or work different hours, or stay-at-home moms, or picking up schools during lunch hours, we're going to be able to service them as well with some good barbecue and burger.
The access to be able to get into it, because it's going to be on Cordova Road. I mean, you can actually come off Dexter and through the parking lot. It's not right off of Germantown Road where you're having to fight traffic.
Yeah.
And with the red light right there, and it's going to be easy.
It'd be fairly easy to get in and out of, and as a consumer, that's important to me.
Right.
Like,
absolutely.
If it's a pain in the to get in and out of, I'll
you speak for the masses.
Be moving
That's
on.
for sure.
With a nice patio, so you can sit out there.
I like that.
Growing up in this business, there was 3 things that made you successful, right? It's location, location, location.
Yeah.
That's it. Without that, don't worry about the other stuff. So we feel like we've checked those boxes for Cordova for sure.
So speaking of location, is the next location out yet? Is that out for publication,
It's
or
so close to being able to talk about. It is so close.
this close to the big reveal?
Yeah. So.
But not yet.
Yeah, it is. I mean, it is on the edge of my tongue, and I can hear. Randy's gonna be watching this. Our CEO is just gonna be.
He might jump up.
Don't say it. Don't say it yet.
Don't say it.
Yeah.
Don't.
So I'm gonna watch.
Don't say Lakeland, or
Yeah.
don't say whatever that is.
Exactly.
Don't say it.
Yeah, but you'll be on the short list to know. Okay, you're just gonna have to help us get the word out as soon as it's done. But I mean, it
Absolutely.
is a neighborhood that's, really, like I said, desire us to be out there, and Lakeland's on that list as much as Carville and the other ones mentioned before.
That's
for
great.
sure.
That's great.
Even Randy said when I was speaking with him today about all of this, he's just like, his words, we're growing and we're doing growth in the right way.
Yeah, that's a good point. Again, I touched on that, but so many people get outside of their footprint and you find success, and they're like, oh, let's go to Little Rock, or let's go to, we want to be a continuous path in our growth and be really smart about it. And the good news about Randy and myself was, again, I was not kidding when I said I learned a lot of what not to do by working with other concepts.
Yeah.
Part of the reason why we were brought in to be able to help lead this is because of what we learned not to do as much as what we learned to do, in growth, because there's no going back. I mean, we're not going to not take chances, but, when you make a wrong turn, it could really hurt a lot of things.
It can damage your business, and
Yeah.
you don't often, and I guess this is probably more true of the restaurant business than others, you don't often get a second chance,
It's a fact.
or you don't even hear that you did anything wrong.
Right.
They just won't come back.
Yeah.
So you hit the nail on the head. You got to know what where you are,
At
and
least have an educated guess is what I like to call it.
some sort of an
Done
idea.
this long enough to at least the guesses are at least going to be educated, right?
So we've talked some about your menu. What if you have customer feedback, and what's the best seller? What's the item on your menu
Yeah.
that you get more? I love this.
Chopped pork.
Chopped
Still
pork.
to this day. Still got us here.
Yeah.
For sure. It is the leader, and it has been, and it's close. I mean, because we, have just really poured into the fact of low and slow, and just done that for so many years, it's done right,
Yeah.
right? And the town appreciates that and rewards us for that, right? But the burger is a contender. It's like Rocky and Apollo. Okay, so I mean they fight it out, but at the end of the day, our Rocky is the pork sandwich.
Rocky wins.
Yeah, at the end of the day.
And catering, so for our number one, because I sell more packages, and I have these cute names for all of our packages, and you have to. I think if you come up with a cute name, then
have to.
people remember it. So, but our number one in catering is our smoking pig and chick.
Yeah.
So, because so many people now they can't eat pork, because that is the problem for some people. And but we offer it where they get pork and the chicken.
Yeah.
And number one, right off the bat, I mean, that's what they're ordering. So knowing that they can get 2 meats, 2 sides, and
And you have options.
It is. And
oh yeah, in catering we have a lot of options.
Yeah.
We have a lot more options that are not in the restaurant.
it-
So that's
catering is good for us to test.
Yeah.
You hit a large audience at once. You don't mess with people's heads in the restaurant in different parts of Memphis, right? And why can I get something here and not here? To her point, the chicken, which was a limited time offer that you might have seen on billboards, it was the one before the one we're in right now. It was so successful that it landed on our permanent menu, just like the first LTO we did as this team. And the first one Tops has done, and I want to say since 2012. It's going to be close to that, when they brought on ribs and brisket together. So really to bring that bologna sandwich in, and I talked about testing a lot, I ate no less than 70 bologna sandwiches during this time. I mean, I'm not going to name any competitor's name out there and give them a free plug, but I had their bologna sandwich, I assure you. And
So you were full of bologna.
that's right, exactly. Yeah, not the first person to say that, but the full mission was to have the best barbecue bologna sandwich in Memphis. And we felt with all of our heart that that was the case. You should, and again, King Cotton, partnering with the Memphis Legacy brand that I grew up seeing with Penny Hardaway when he was in college talking about it, and how his grandmother, used King Cotton. So just to have that, and it was so successful too, right out of the gate, that it is also a permanent fixture.
Yeah.
And on our breakfast menu as well.
Yeah.
So chicken started in the catering world and
good stuff.
It has.
The guest has spoken.
Oh yeah, they love it. But we offer through catering. We can do things like we have garden salad in the catering, bulk salad, and then we also have a sausage and cheese plate, and so
Chicken wings.
I like the way you
and
talk.
the wings. Yes, we have an incredible director of operations, Chuck Brownlee,
Yeah,
and he can smoke some wings.
he's good. He's good.
Wow. Yes. And I'm not a big wing person, but the first time I had his, I'm like, okay, this is it. And so we do offer those in
And-
catering. Mm.
And going back to the full of bologna, I'm not a big bologna person.
Yeah.
But I love your barbecue
good,
bologna
isn't it?
sandwich. Yeah, it's good.
It's not that I'm not a big fan. It's just I probably wouldn't think to order it in a menu that has a lot of offerings.
Yeah.
And now I do.
Yeah.
Now I do because it's really good.
Same here. I wouldn't have thought to order it until I read it or somebody mentioned it to me. I thought, I'll try that.
Good.
Very good. Yeah, exactly. Good.
Amen. Glad that worked out.
It did work out. So you mentioned the new ownership group, and before we got on the air, you mentioned some of the concerns that your customers had, but I think you've assuaged those, that you've kind of overcome that, haven't you?
Yeah. We hear, on the internet, obviously, that there's been change. Has there been change? Questions of change with some items, and I'll just flat out tell you that the answer is no, with an asterisk, because we haven't changed it unless at the coincidental time with COVID and manufacturing and different issues that came with that forced us to look at something as similar as we can get it at close, but never with the intent to change, ever. Never with the intent to change. And these are Memphians, man. These ownership groups are proud Memphians that, are behind the scenes, but as proud of the brand as we are. And, when they bought it, there was never any talk about how can we do this better. It's how can we get, anything else, a team that can help it stay consistent, keep the legacy where it is, get a little faster, bring in some innovation, get it up to speed, with different ways to order, so that the guest, it's easier for the guest. Those are the things that they were talking about when we came in. We partnered with them. That's all we've talked about from the beginning. Yeah, there's change, but it's not in the food. Yeah. The change you'll see is we want to invest in the buildings. We want to paint them and get new signage and get technology in here and build an app that's best in class. And those are the things we want to change. But changing the coleslaw isn't on the list.
Oh, no.
Okay. First of all, my mother would kill me.
Oh, mine too.
I mean, I'd be dead. Right? Yeah.
Well, to go back to one of your slogan lines, you don't mess with tops in Memphis.
That's right.
If it's
Amen.
tops in Memphis,
That's right.
why change it?
Yeah, absolutely. Why change something that got you here?
Yeah.
And it's been so successful so many years.
Yeah.
It's would not make sense for us. So sleep well tonight.
That's right. So that's one less thing you have to worry
That's
about.
right.
If you had a fun, interesting story about, you've shared some of the nostalgia, with your grandfather, and just is there an interesting, story or something? What's something funny you could share that's happened?
Well, most recently, actually, there was I was at Tops Poplar right here, and a gentleman asked me to come over and say hello, and so of course I went over there and he said, "Hey, I come and eat here every day," and I'm not exaggerating. And then as the team members walked by, he said, "Hey, Sissy, hey, Kyle, hey," he's talking to, they all greeting him back. Gary is his name, and just a great guy. It was a great story, and then it took a terrible turn at the end for me. Towards the end, he said, "But I'm changing jobs and I'm moving." I was like, "Oh, dang, that's a customer every day,
You don't want to lose those.
He said, "Well, let me tell you why I'm moving." I was sitting right here, and the next booth up, so the guy's got his back to him, so they're facing the same way. He had on this shirt, Eric Church Tour, and it looked like a staff shirt, not something that you would buy on the tour. And he got his attention and said, "Hey, do you actually work for that?" And he goes, "Yeah, man, I love it." He goes, "I go to Nashville." So he lives in Germantown. This particular guy lives in Germantown. Drives to Nashville every Wednesday morning, first thing, works through the weekend, comes home Sunday night, spends nights Monday and Tuesday with his family, and gets up and does it again. And it was just so intriguing to Gary that he said, "Look, man, I used to drive a bus. I know this is a long shot, but is there any chance? I mean, that'd be my dream job. Is there any chance that you could drop a name for me?" And he said, "I tell you what, actually, we're hiring right now for a bus driver." And he drove for Greyhound and just several other places that brought him up through the Memphis market. But sitting in topsbarbq, where he spent every day, led him to a conversation that gives him his dream job for the rest of his career. Out to travel, see the world, hang out with some of the coolest people and brightest stars, and would have never happened if he wasn't a raging fan of topsbarbq.
And he can still come back a couple of days a week.
He can, Monday and Tuesday. We already talked about it. I didn't even hear anything else. I said, "So you'll be in Memphis Monday and Tuesday?" Okay, got it. All right. So,
maybe you need some to go for Wednesday.
That's right.
For the road.
But we're proud of those stories and those things. And, of course, the Memphis legends that eat and walk around with our cups, our 32-ounce, 24-ounce billboards, that have tops, to see that in when the Mouth of the South comes back in town, and takes Jerry Lawler to lunch, and they go and meet at their favorite tops and put it on Facebook and Instagram and just share those stories. It's really cool, man. The nostalgia is really awesome.
That is fun. Mm-hmm. Yeah, when we see that cup around here, we don't have to ask who it is. Usually it's, we know who.
There's no
who's
doubt.
on the daily trip.
Yeah, I like Joey more and more.
More and more.
Mm-hmm. And I get to my catering customers. That's a whole different area. There are some very unique ladies and men, but I get personal conversations with them because I'm dealing with usually an event in their life, whether it's funerals. I say we cater a lot of funerals. We're doing 2 this weekend, and the lady that booked this weekend, she was very entertaining though, even though her father had passed away. He was older. They knew it was coming. And she said, "I just need you to come and cater for my family because I'll just tell you, we're not allowed in a restaurant anymore because we had a fight at the last funeral. And so they've been banned from a local restaurant. But we can come in and make it good for them there." And she said, "Maybe we won't have to wipe barbecue sauce off the walls."
Were you able to just drop off and run? I'm a little concerned about your catering team. Okay.
I'm like, maybe we need to for this one. And then we catered a wedding this past weekend at one Memphis, and beautiful. It was just gorgeous. I can't even describe it. The pictures are coming. Mm-hmm. So, because I always say we're not pizza delivery. That's not what we do.
Right.
We come in, we deliver it, we set it up, we make it look beautiful for whatever the occasion is. Mm-hmm.
And if a fight breaks out, you're going to deal with it.
Yeah.
We will deal with it. I mean, we've also catered to the Army several times. Millington, we get a lot from up there. And then I just lost my train of thought on that one. But it's always, I enjoy the repeat customers. Because they'll call me up and say, "Hey, Darnell, you catered for this one. We did a baby shower not too long ago. 150 people."
Yeah.
I know that.
For a baby shower.
For a baby shower.
Wow.
And now we're going to cater her an event next weekend. And
interesting.
So,
not that I've been to a lot of baby showers because usually I try to avoid those.
Right.
But that sounds big.
Mm-hmm. Yes, it was. And different events, because that was at Montrose out in Holly Springs, and we've done weddings out at Pinecrest in Moscow.
Yeah.
I think your original train of thought was we get to go feed people that can't come to Tops too, just
Right.
because of the catering opportunities
Yeah.
that they provide.
We're
So
going to be in Brighton, Tennessee
think
for
about
a goth wedding
at
coming up.
the wedding, you've got people from all over out of town coming in,
Yeah.
and it's their opportunity to be able to do that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's pretty neat.
That is,
Today we fed someone over here at Poplar. He's from California. He's never been here before, but they are regular customers of mine from their sales force. And he wanted to come in and try it, and we showed him the pit. And he's like, "We don't have this in California." Matter of fact, he said, "Come on out to California."
Remember our growth plan.
yeah, remember the growth plan, the footprint.
That's right.
But he had never seen
It's
a
outside of
pit
that.
before. So
That's cool. That's fun. Is there anything else before we wrap up that we didn't touch on? I can't tell you how much I appreciate y'all.
We're
your
here
time.
for your questions and just whatever you're into and your listeners are into. So if you feel like we've covered it, I think we've talked a lot.
Look, we can talk food for a long time.
No doubt.
we brought our signature
Well, thank you.
dishes over
I mean,
here.
the main thing is thanks for including us in the circle, because that's huge for us. We've always claimed to be a part of it, so it's cool to know that other people say it too.
Look, I can draw a circle.
That's right.
And it goes all the way
If
around.
that was the
and
Brooklyn U,
right.
we wouldn't be inside of it. The Brooklyn Circle,
It's
by
not.
definition,
It
we're
is,
in it.
it is not the Brookhaven semicircle.
Okay, yes, exactly.
So thank you both for taking time to be with us.
Yeah.
Tell me if someone's looking to find you, where do they find you? Online or, tell me.
Yeah,
Where do they find you?
Right now, as a matter of fact, and this is really new, so this is just for your guest, either the Apple or Google store, either one, you can go and download our new app and get a taste for that. It's pretty cool. It holds in your rewards points, helps you stack them up. You order online, you choose curbside, we'll bring it out to your car.
Yeah.
It's really best in class, honestly, and we've been able to see and work with some of the big boys out there to compare it to. So, that's obviously a way to download our app, but if you're looking for a location, it's as easy as getting on topsbarbq.com. Locations are listed, all 17 will be there, and hopefully as you continue to click on it through the next few years, it'll grow to 18, 19, 20, and so on. So
That's great. I love
pretty
that.
cool.
The
Yeah.
catering line is 901-667-8677 or 901-667-TOPS. It's with me all the time.
Ask for Darnell with one L.
That's right.
It's so hard still today. I mean, I catch myself hitting delete on the last letter all the time.
I can't get rid of it on my email that I've seen. I've
that wasn't
tried.
me.
I've gone back through it, and anyway.
We should just
But-
go ahead and claim that email address.
Yeah.
Okay, we'll just take it.
Good stuff. Thank you both.
Yeah.
If you have enjoyed this podcast, you can find additional podcasts on thebrookhavencircle.com. You can find this podcast by searching The Brookhaven Circle on your favorite podcast platform, on YouTube. So please subscribe, watch. Be sure to put a comment about how great the host is when you send those comments in. And we'll see you again next week. Thanks for joining us on the Brookhaven Circle. Please subscribe to our podcast and send us any questions or comments you have. The Brookhaven Circle is produced by V2 Media, a part of the business community on Brookhaven Circle.